could I have an application? She said, no. I said, let's go over this all. Do you have any openings for technicians, for masters? She said, yes. I said, are they funded openings? And she said, yes. I said, are they vacant? And she said, yes. And I said, do I meet qualifications? And I showed her my master's. She said, yes. I said, could I have an application? And she said, no. And I said, why? And she said, Ronald Reagan has frozen federal hiring so that no one can be hired in the federal government because the deficit is out of control. And if someone quits or takes another job or retires, we just leave it open, even though it's funded, because we can't hire. And I said, and how long will this last? And she said, well, it's his second year, and it looks like he's going to get reelected, so I'm guessing, 6 years? I said, I've got to get my dissertation. And she said, and I've got to get back to work. So I turned around, and I walked out, and she said, excuse me, did you hurt your leg? Remember the beam of light from heaven? Second beam. And my mother says, Donald, please, when people ask you a question, you don't have to answer honestly. Sometimes you can just shut up or say, why do you need to know? But I always just answer. And this time I said, why do you need to know? And she said, you're limping. And I said, yes, I'm limping. And she said, why are you limping? And I said, because I had polio at age 2 in the last big epidemic in the United States before the vaccine. And she said, you're disabled? And I said, yes. And she said, there's no hiring freeze for the disabled. And I said, oh my God, give me a hand. I can make fun of the disabled. I'm disabled. It has never done anything for me but give me that job and a parking placard. A lot of people have made fun of me over the years, and I never got picked for baseball or kickball or anything else. So I filled out the paperwork, and I'm giddy, right? And I say, what do I do? She says, be here at 6:45 Monday morning. And I said, oh, I don't get up before 11. I never schedule classes in the morning. I'm just not. She said, we start at 7, and you've got to be processed. So I met her there at 6:45, and she said, this is Matilda Smith, and she's going to be your boss. And you're going to be in the Centers for Disease. You're here at the Centers for Disease Control. You're going to be in the Center for Infectious Disease, the Bacteriology branch, the Campylobacter typing lab. And I said, wow! And so we're going through, remember there's like 18 buildings, and they have basement, sub-basement 1, sub-basement 2, sub-basement 3. It's like a labyrinth of caves there. And we're going through with these card keys, through all these secure sections and all that. And I'm just... And finally, she looks over at me and says, you do know what you're going to be doing, right? And I said, yes, Campylobacter typing. And she said, do you know what Campylobacter is? And I said, well, I know it's a major genus in microbiology, but I really don't remember exactly. She said, oh, it's contagious diarrhea. I said, what? She said, yes. Everywhere in the world where there's a food outbreak of contagious diarrhea, we send people there to collect samples, which they send on dry ice overnight by FedEx, and a lab tech picks them up at 7 a.m. every morning at the Centers for Disease Control, thaws them out, dilutes them, and mixes them with antibodies prepared in rabbits to type the spread of different subtypes of Campylobacter infection so that we can trace the source. And you are the tech. It's gonna be doing that. So when you guys tell me something stinks, don't be joking. I know what stink is. I worked with it for 9 months. I did 500 samples in the morning and 500 in the afternoon of everyone's diarrhea around me. It was, I can actually turn off my smell. I can clean up poop anywhere, not even smell it. You'll learn to do that if you work with it. And every day when I went to the cafeteria, I looked. We had a huge cafeteria wall for transfers. And every day, I got my little food tray and I went. Every transfer. 9 months later, I saw a little note that says, there's been a new disease discovered, 100% fatal. We do not have a treatment. We do not have a cure. We do not know what causes it. We do not know how it's spread. It's killing hundreds of people. No one will work with it. Please volunteer. We now call it AIDS. Then they call it GRID. And so I applied. Now I want you to think that I am wonderful, amazing, unbelievably courageous. But in truth, no more diarrhea was why I applied. And if it's a new degrees, new thing, new microbes discovered, is it going to be easy to write a dissertation? You bet. Nobody's ever done anything on it. Do you want to have your name, your dissertation associated with something new in diarrhea? My mother wouldn't even tell people where I was working. Oh, he's working with something with bacteria. She would say he's working in the diarrhea lab. So I volunteered. I also volunteered because I'm a gay man, which, by the way, guess what? It's not contagious. I don't need a boyfriend. Do not worry. I won't touch you, and don't come near me either. Okay? It's all okay. It's a big world. There's room for us all. But I volunteered, and that was the year they discovered HIV/AIDS, and I worked in that lab, and it was exciting and horrendous and scary and all that, and I wrote my dissertation, got my PhD, and set out to teach and do research, and was a freeway flyer here for 10 years. Anybody know what a freeway flyer is? That's someone who cannot get a permanent position at a college or university or a community college, and they teach one class at each one. So I lived in Long Beach. I got up at 5 o'clock. I had to be on the road at 5:30 because I taught microbiology at 8 o'clock at Santa Monica College. And to get from Long Beach to Santa Monica by 8, there's only 4 routes, and you got to be careful. You're either cutting across Inglewood, you're going around 405, which nobody ever is successful at doing, or you're coming up the 110 or going across the 105. I mean, it's a nightmare. And then when I finished micro at 10:30, I went to Pasadena City College and taught Biology 3 laboratory. And then at 4 in the afternoon, I went to El Camino and taught micro lab. And then at 6:30, and since 1986, I taught microbiology at night at Glendale College. So I went, I wore out 3 Toyotas. But one year, 1995, I interviewed here, and at Southwest, and at Santa Monica, and at Glendale, and people say, why in the world did you pick City? Why did I pick City? Because you are me. I'm a middle-class kid, grew up in South America, who had problems, who wasn't serious, who loves diversity, and look around you. I bet you there isn't 2 people alike in this whole room. You have more cultures, more languages, and more different kinds of people at this college than any place on earth. 166 different cultures are represented on this campus. Now, that can be very annoying. Some of you people eat strange stuff. My mother ate pig's feet. too. But it is the greatness of America. Because if you've lived like where I went in the South, where everybody's got to be white, Republican, evangelical, and everybody must be alike and differences are not tolerated, you will find that here is refreshing and wonderful. The secret of America is that people from all different religions and cultures and languages and races approach the same problem. And when they do, they come up with a whole bunch of solutions, some of which are completely unique to their culture. If you have a monoculture and you approach that very same problem, you'll come up with several options, but not many different ones. And the secret of America is that uniqueness of so many people from so many different backgrounds and languages and cultures approaching the same problem with only one thing in mind, a solution. And coming up with unique solutions is typically in America and in mixed societies. So that brings us back to the point of we got to all work together. And I know that some people may rub you the wrong way. Personality conflicts, cultural conflicts. There's a few things that I won't tolerate. The moment you walk through that door, you're in microbiology class by Dr. Hicks. You will treat everyone with respect. If they get on your nerves, you will calm down and try again. If they still get on your nerves, you'll come to me and say, this is getting on my nerves, can you help me with it? You will not get angry or nasty or insulting. You will not say, I hate those Turks, I hate those Armenians, I hate those gay people, I hate those lesbians, I hate those blacks, I hate those Hispanics, I hate those Mexicans. I do not want to hear that. You have the right to think it. Keep it inside your head. In this room, don't say it out loud. Do not come up to somebody and give them some little winky thing or give them a little pinch either. No sexual harassment. Nothing of this, oh, I have 42 copies of 6 years of his old tests for a little. I'll give you copies. Ain't gonna happen because guess what? Everybody gets all the copies of all my old tests. Not with answers. What do you think this is? Grade school? But everybody has access to my old test. Nobody will be able to pull anything over on you. Do not do things accidentally, like sometimes, you know, people will say, lean over. Don't do that. It offends somebody. If somebody offends you, remember the first thing you got to do is say, listen, I don't like somebody leaning across me. It makes me really uncomfortable. I'm that way. I'm also a hugger, so be careful. Don't get too close. I might just hug you because I like you. And by the way, I like everybody until they prove to me they're really nerve. Then we'll go there. Okay? So just be honest with the other. Be nice. Be patient. If you have a problem, come to me first. Try to solve it yourself, because usually it's just a misunderstanding. But if it gets more serious, come to me and we'll work on it together and we'll do something. Just don't focus on anything other than we're going to work together and we're all going to get good grades, which I consider an A or B. And by the way, don't come to me bitching about a B. It's superior. It is wonderful. Never look a B in the eye and be disappointed. B's are good. I give a lot more A's than anybody gives A's around here, but you earn it. And if you don't get it, I want you to get a B, and I'll be happy with that, and you'll be happy with that. And if you find a discrepancy, let me know. But nobody gets any points that not everybody has access to. Everybody is treated equally. And a computer assigns the grades. Now, if it comes to 1 point, I have some tiebreakers that we'll talk about that you can do. And there's 100 over-the-top bonus points in the course that can bring your grade up 3%. So if you have an 87 average and you do the bonus, what are you going to get? A 90, an A. So there are all kinds of ways for success in here. And that's what I do. There are, you know, to get people to do what you want them to do, how many different ways are there? Just 2. Reward and punishment. I used to use reward. I found it doesn't work. I used to give people pop quizzes all the time. Every day when they walked in the door, they had a pop quiz. And every time they got some points right on it, I added 1/2 of those points to the next major exam score. So if they made a 10 out of 10 on a pop quiz, I gave them 5 extra points. Guess what happened? They studied like hell for the first 3 weeks. After that, hey, I didn't study. I can guess at 3 of them. Hey, and it doesn't hurt me. So reward doesn't work well, so all my bonus points, what I do is other things. I give pop quizzes, and we go over them in class the next time, and I use those pop quizzes questions on the exams. So it helps, but it's not a reward system where you get extra points for every pop quiz you get right. But anyway, so let's talk. That's my kind of history and philosophy. Anybody have any question about it? I'd like you to know a little bit about who I am. I have a beautiful laugh. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Is everything still all about you?
Yes. That's my joke. And some people don't get it. Lots of people don't get it. And I have all these critical things on ratemyprofessor.com because every day when I come in, I say, what's this class about? And most people say, microbiology or the microscope. And I said, no, it's not. It's about me. Me. Now, what I mean when it's about me is that story I just told you. It's about the mistakes I make that I don't want you to make. And I'm going to try to show you what to do not to make those. It's about me sitting right where she's sitting right there and remembering how that felt. And putting myself in that place and saying, how can I do this better so that you can understand it easier? And every term, I change the class. Every term, I take your suggestions that you give me, I'll ask you on the last day about what you think can be improved or might be changed or you think might be unfair. And I sit there and think about them and bounce them off of other people in that, other teachers and the lab tech and think about what I can do to change. Like this. Now, it may have taken me 10 years to get this up, but I really did it. And don't I take their suggestions? Because she was my lab tech for a while.
Yes.
All right, so anyway, here's the website, and it's accessible. And this is this index page, which basically is the syllabus and contact information. And I want you, the most important thing is you must read the assignments, the daily assignments every day. And please pop this up on your smartphone or something before you come to class, like before you leave home. Because in the occasion that I'm absent, sick, I was sick a good bit. Last term I had gallbladder, whatever you want to call it. See, I told you, I tell them everything people ask me, gallstones. Never mind. And so I had to put up, I'm going to be absent today. Please do the following things in lieu of class or whatever. So always check right under this. There will be something in some bright color if I'm absent. Yeah.
Don, I cannot access that website.
Let's see.
Is it
hicksmicro.blogspot.com?
Oh, dot. Oh, okay.
You probably did what I did. I typed blogspot all the time.
Yes. Okay. See.
You know how those darn computers are so unforgiving. Just one little letter is real nearby. All right. So anyway, today you must attend and assign the official road. Somebody tell me when it's 4 o'clock, and that's when I'll auction the things off. Attend and sign, and if you didn't show up today, I will give your seat away. And if you want to add, you go on this list. And just while I'm doing that, I am going to give me 1 second here.
So that microwave, we don't have to do it.
Ah, there they are. I need a victim. Yeah. Cut me some strips like this, like that. And then fold them like that for me. And I need I need 27 of them. Thank you. So she's going to cut my strip for me. At 4 o'clock, I'll assign those. Let's see. Know the attendance rules. What are the attendance rules? You must sign the roll every day until the second week of September. After that, I will take attendance through giving a pop quiz every day.
I know what I did, never mind.
But you must sign the roll sheet every day so that I have a record of who's here. What about makeup tests? I don't give them. I do teach the class 3 times each week, actually 4 times each week. And should you miss a chapter test or then you can take it in one of my other classes if you get to me quick enough. If you miss one of the 3 major exams, lab practical 1, the midterm lab practical 2, and the final exam, then you're going to have to take an I and come back another term. And a lot of people say, that's outrageous. I had a doctor's excuse. I was run over by a cat. And I have proof. Well, the microbes are grown for a specific time. And when they're ready, they're ready. And I can't wait more than 24 hours. That's it. So they're ready when they're ready. And if you're not ready when they're ready, you have to come back the next term and take a major exam. So the major exams are the midterm lab practical 2 is 20%, and the comprehensive final exam. Final exam is offered 4 different times on 3 different days, so surely if you're sick or have some major family responsibility, we can move you around. This one is like the most major one. You've got to take it on the 1 or 2 days it's offered. This one is about the same, but not quite as strict. So this one's super, super, super. You've got to be ready on that day, because those microbes are ready that day. This one not quite as much, but pretty much. And this one, almost anyone, we can find a way to give it to you if you miss it. Then we have what we call chapter tests, and they happen about every 2 weeks to 10 days. And I give them 4 times in a week, and if you have a doctor's or approved excuse, I can usually give it to you in another class. The other evaluation, and by the way, the chapter test, if we take 10 of them, and remember, each one of these also counts as a chapter test. So it is written down as a chapter test as well as a major exam. And we take these 3 plus about 7 others that we take during the term equal your chapter test, and I drop your 2 lowest. Your 2 lowest scores. If we have a total of 10 recorded. And that average is 25% of the final grade. So the 3 exams is 60%. 20 here, 20 here, 20 here. Chapter test is 25%. What else? You have a lab record book. If you've got a finger and can write and copy off the board, you can get 90% or above on your lab record book. It's keeping what I write on this left-hand side of the board and what we do in lab in a composition style book to be turned in on the last day of class as a legal record of what you did in the class. Any idiot, excuse my French, can get a good grade on this. Although I do have people that turn in 6 completed pages. Now, every time we do something, you get a stamp. You know, an apple. Not that kind of apple. All right. So the lab record book is 3% of your final grade, and then the whole lab is oriented around one thing. I teach you how to use the microscope and how to stain microbes and how to focus them and the theory behind them. And then I give you a bacteria, and you perform 61 nutritional experiments on it to see what it eats and what it poops. Collect that data and determine what it is, just like we do if you go into the hospital with an infection. We take a sample and we run all these tests on what it eats and what it poops, and that tells you what the name of the microbe is so that you can then prescribe the antibiotic to treat it. So we're going to teach you how to handle it, how to do those experiments. You're going to make your own little lab manual, which I will give you 50 bonus points for. And then you are going to perform those 61 experiments on your own in class. I'll be walking around helping you, collecting the data. Then you're going to use the data to determine what the unknown is, confirm it with me so you can't make a mistake, and write a paper that's what we call APA style. It's a 10-page American Psychological Association style unknown report. Don't freak out if you're not good in English or you don't know how to write reports. Science is wonderful. You know why science is so wonderful? There's no BS. It's modular. There's a little module you write there. You put the data you collected in this module. You write a little bit of connecting information. You stick in another module. You have a paper. We do not want you to be erudite or interesting or any of that other English crap. We want just the facts, man. And the summary. Boom. You're done. So that report, all the unknown forms report is 12%. And so I believe that adds up to 100, right? 60, 70, what did I forget? Sam?
Breakfast.
There's a 10% I've forgotten in there somewhere. I'll think of it in just a minute. It'll come up to me.
About the stain cards.
That's the bonus.
It adds up to 100, doesn't it?
It does?
Yeah.
Okay, I just can't add.
25
You're not doing the
equals
math right.
12%, right?
Yeah.
25 plus 15.
Your
40,
days.
70, 80. Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Thank you. Told you I couldn't add. There we go. All right. So, be careful on attendance. For God's sake, you're going to choose to be absent. Choose to be absent, not on a chapter test day, and particularly not during those just 3 days. Surely, by odds, you should not be absent in 3 days that I picked for the 3 major exams, and only one of them is super critical. All right, so if you happen to miss a chapter test and you are in the hospital during the whole time I'm offering it, it can be one of the ones you drop. Next, I want you to record the address of this website, and I want you to go through every menu. I want you to know where things are, so if I say go there, you know where to go. So that's what this means. Record and peruse the whole website. You must be able to navigate it and look at it nightly, at least the first page. And I will ask some, on our first pop quiz, some questions about where would you find, name the 2 places where you would find grades and grading. Syllabus and on the first page. You know, that kind of thing. All right. make sure you know how the website is organized. Who can tell me? How's it organized? By evaluation, remember? It's everything under Lab Practical 1. Go to Lab Practical 1. So go to the right-hand menu here on this very first page and look at the organization. The syllabus, then the lab record book and safety, which is 3% for the lab record book. Then there is the bonus points, which is 3% of the class, Lab Practical 1. Everything about Lab Practical 1 is under that button. Everything about the midterms under that button. Everything about the final exam is under that button. And Micro 40 is under that. So it's organized by the major exams or the evaluation percentages. All right, what else? We've already talked about make sure you're taking the right class. Let's talk about what you need to buy. First, get out a big checkbook.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Now let's go to the
Looking at
safety
it, what
first.
we need to write.
This is very important. This is your homework. And I'm going to do your homework for you right now. See where it says safety?
Yeah.
Safety and lab record book, we're going to do it right now. This is your homework assignment. Read this and sign that you've read it and bring me back the signature page. So we're going to do it right now. See how these people are dressed? This is the way you're going to dress, except we no longer use splash guards because we're out of money. Is there any way I can meet you or give it to you at another time? Huh? Sorry, I promised him a reference saying he was Jesus Christ, and I hadn't got finished with it yet. And by the way, he did a great job. He made a flat-out A. All right, so anyway, everybody listening? Just sit back. All you have to do is listening. In my class, almost everything is already printed out for you. So you will just print things out and just add yourself a little notes as you go along instead of trying to write every word. Because I find that here, what's this class about, ma'am?
You.
That's right. I have a learning disability, dyslexia. And I didn't learn that I had it until I was a sophomore in college. And what I discovered is that there are 11 major ways that people learn. Did you know that?
No.
You think that everybody learns the same way, but it's not true. But in college, did you know that we only teach 4 ways? We only teach lecture note, lab, which is hands-on, memorization, and essay. People learn a whole lot of different ways. You know what? How I learned? And I didn't discover this until I had screwed up so many things. If I outline something once, I never forget it. I don't know why. That's just the way I learn. So what do you think your notes are in? Outline. And so I have an outline that you can print out, a PowerPoint outline that you can print out. You just add what you need to it, and hopefully that should be fine from you, because I have a guarantee for you. If I didn't specifically mention it in class, and it was on your PowerPoint, or I didn't say, oh, I forgot, this also will be on, it won't be on the test. And if you find it on the test, it's free for everyone. So if you find something I didn't cover, or didn't specifically say, go to page 23 and read that table, then it won't be on the test. I don't believe in games. Remember, I had so many teachers, and more than half, were crap. I had so many where I studied, I read the book, I took copious notes, I came in, I sat down for the exam, and I go, where the hell did this come from? And then I went to the teacher and he said, well, it was in the concordance. Or it was in, you know, the table 23. Or it was in the first edition when I took my notes 20 years ago. So, anyway, it's going to be there, and so you don't have to write all the time. All you have to do is know where to go and find it, and just listen. And the moment you don't understand something, stick your hand in the air, and I will re-explain it a different way. And if you still don't get it, I'll do it again. And if the third time you still don't understand, I'll say, see me after class, and I'll try to explain it another way. Do not let me slip past something you don't understand. There is always somebody too chicken to raise their hand. So do it for them, because you're nice. All right, so anyway, this class is about the way I learn, which is I learn by outline. You need to discover the way you learn. And hopefully if you do, and maybe this will help you during this class. All right, so the best way to do it, somebody will remind me right after we finish going over the safety here, ask me what's the shortcut to an A. I can tell you a shortcut. There is one. All right, so safety page, what do you need to know? The universal precautions was a way of dressing healthcare workers designed by the Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta during the late 1800s and early 1900s so as to prevent the spread of the most contagious transmissible disease known to man. It is still the most easily transmitted disease known to man, and it's hepatitis A virus. It can be, if you can think of how people spread disease, it's spread that way except through air. It does not travel through the air. Now, if you go, that is not airborne. That's droplet if it's within 6 feet, 3 meters. That's not considered air. Air is hundreds of feet like tuberculosis does. So tuberculosis and chickenpox are two of the major airborne diseases. Everything else is not. Hepatitis A is not airborne, but if you can think of a way it might be transmitted, it is. Through semen, through vaginal secretions, through saliva, through tears, through blood, through sweat, kissing, hugging a sweaty person. I cannot think of a way besides airborne that is not transmitted. So, the job of the people at the CDC was to find a way to dress healthcare workers so they wouldn't transmit hepatitis A if they had it to a patient, or from a patient that had it to a healthcare worker. Now, who's in more danger if someone's got a disease? If the patient's got a disease, is the healthcare worker in more danger? Or if the healthcare worker has a disease, is the patient in more danger? The patient is always in more danger. They're in the hospital, their immune system is down. So things that you carry on you that normally do not make people sick will make a person that is severely ill, it will kill them. So, remember, the person that's always in most danger is the patient from the healthcare worker, even a seemingly healthy healthcare worker. Because we can carry staph, for instance, right along in our nose and be just fine. Strep too. All right, so hepatitis A is the answer. So on the pop quiz, when I put the universal precautions were designed to protect healthcare workers and patients from the transmission of the most easily transmitted disease on earth, which is, do not put HIV, do not put AIDS, do not put hepatitis B, or C, or D, there is no F, or G. All right, what are you going to put? Hepatitis A. You just got the first question right. All right, so what are the universal precautions? The universal precautions are a disposable, elastic-bound hair cover, a unitard sort of, what would you call that? Coveralls, disposable coveralls that zip up and have elastic at the arms, at the wrist, and at the ankles. A pair of disposable shoe covers, 2 pair of latex or nitrile gloves, a fitted HEPA filter mask to prevent airborne, and a splash shield. That's the complete universal precaution. But so many illnesses are not airborne, and so many do not have splash requirements that they said it's really too expensive and too cumbersome to dress in the complete universal precautions except where indicated by the disease you're treating. So in most healthcare situations and in the laboratory, we use the incomplete or partial universal precautions. And those are a long sleeve lab coat that reaches below the waist, and a pair of latex or nitrile gloves, and a face shield if splashes are possible. And that's called the incomplete universal precaution. And with that, since we don't have chemicals or microbe splash problems, we have eliminated the splash shield. So in here, we use the partial universal precautions, which are a lab coat with long sleeves that reaches below the waist, and by the way, it has to be cotton or cotton blend. It cannot be artificial, but it can be the disposable type. And nitrile, preferably over latex gloves, because so many people have developed latex allergies. Latex is a very small molecule that can cause allergic responses, and so most of the time we use nitrile gloves that no one has developed allergies to. All right. So in this room we will be using the incomplete. Who can tell me what they are? What 2 things do you need?
Lab coat. Lab coat.
A lab coat. Short sleeve?
Long sleeve.
Can it come up to here?
No.
Can it show your belly button?
No.
Okay. Can it be made out of polyester?
No.
No.
Okay. Oh, by the way, if you have long hair, long, beautiful hair, has to be tied back. Yes. We have had flaming students. Yeah, Bunsen burner, lean over, whoosh, and to throw her down and roll her in a blanket. So, yeah, we also used to say closed-toed shoes, but nobody wears those here. So I kind of just don't mention that. But normally they do require closed-toed shoes. But for us, just a cotton or cotton blend coat that's long sleeve that reaches at least to your waist or a little bit below it. By the way, if you go to the website or on this, you will see that most of these you can pay $30 or $50 for. There's a wonderful little place called SassoonScrubs.com downtown. I believe it's on Myrtle Street. I forgot what it is. It's very easy. You can go to their website. It's listed on the syllabus. It's only $15.
15 bucks.
And,
Don't even put your name on it. For another 5.
all right?
Do they also sell the face shield?
Yeah, but you don't need the face shield. You don't need them anymore. We don't do it. Okay, so let's go on. Do we use deadly pathogens in here?
No.
No. Is it possible that any of the pathogens we use in here make anyone sick?
No.
Yes.
Yeah?
Never.
Oh, yeah.
If a person has an affected immune system, if they are on steroids, radiation therapy, chemotherapy, have an immune dysfunction, or have a T cell or HIV with a T cell less than 200, anything will make them sick, and these can make them sick. But these are not human pathogens, and they will not make you sick. What if you are pregnant, want to be pregnant, practicing to get pregnant? Tonight you hope you get pregnant, or tomorrow you are pregnant. Can you take this class? Yes. state of California has determined, and Cal-OSHA and the federal government have determined that none of the microbes cross the placenta or in any way harm you or your fetus. That is not the excuse you need to skip this class. So you can go ahead and try. Okay. Let's see. What else do I want it to be? Oh, just FYI, someone tell me some of the animals that would get sick if they came in contact with the microbes we use in this class. Birds? Reptiles? Cows. Okay, so if you have a snake at home, make sure, really I'm serious, if you have a pet at home, you know, you have a cow in the backyard. Right? I love cows, I work with them all the time. But remember, wash your hands and launder it. If you take your lab coat home to launder it, keep it in a plastic bag and launder it. And remember, all the washing detergents and all that will kill everything, so it won't be a problem. All right, we have biosafety level 1.5 in this room. 1.0 means we're not dealing in dangerous things, and all you need is a lab coat. You don't even need to wear gloves, like, you know, plant diseases or something. But we deal in 1.5, and that's just a little bit higher. The microbes are harmless, number one. But when microbes are out, we have to have the doors locked, and then you can't bring your kids or your mother in while we're working in lab. You have to have the lab attire on, which is the coat and the gloves when microbes are out in the room. If you have to go to the bathroom while you're in lab, you have to take the gloves off and throw them away, take your coat off, wash your hands, and then go to the bathroom and come out. Don't go out in the hall with a lab coat on, gloves on. It scares the sensitive people out there. You can't tell them that we don't deal with deadly microbes. They don't listen. They're just screaming and running up the hall. All right? So remember, you can't leave with those on. Aseptic technique is where you handle microbes carefully so that they stay in the right place and you don't mix them up with others in the environment, and we're going to show you how to do that. And when microbes are in the wrong place, it's called a contamination. So the way to handle them, to keep them separate, is called aseptic technique. When you're in the wrong place, it's a contamination. And when you want to keep just one kind of microbe separate, it's called sterile technique. Okay. Let's see, we talked about the hair. Oh, if you spill some of the microbes, and we're doing, you know, we're dipping into broths and liquids with your microbe and going them up, and you may knock them over and spill it. What happens if you spill it? If you spill it, remember you're in your lab coat and gloves, so you're going to pick up your tube and put it in your test tube rack. You're going to spray the area with disinfectant and wipe it with paper towel and discard it in the regular trash. If glass is broken, then you're just going to spray it and call me. They give me an extra $1 to pick up the glass. Don't take my $1. All right? Remember, you never lay any glass, any tube down on the countertop. And these items, these are the items that we use called a loop that transfers bacteria. You never lay anything on the tabletop. Everything is always in a wooden block or something like that. Nothing ever is ever laid on the tabletop. Daily procedures. All right, so everyone after the third class is going to have an assigned seat. And if you're one of the extras, you're going to be hanging around the edges, okay? And what you're going to do when you come in the door every day, unless I say we're only having lecture, you have to do this several times. But every day when you come in, you're going to take your books and put them in your seat. Do not touch the tabletop. The people before you may have, you know, spit on it, rub their armpits on it. It could be nasty. We assume in this class everything is nasty and someone has, you know, dropped dangerous stuff. We always act as if everything is deadly. Because if you always act that way, you're never in any danger. If you are only act carefully in an emergency room when you know the person has AIDS, guess what? You're going to be dead. Because 76% of all people that leave a hospital are not completely diagnosed with every disease-causing organism they have until up to 2 weeks later do they find out. So if you always act as if everything's deadly, you're always protected. So you're going to come over here and you're going to wet your hands, and you're going, if we're rich and have disinfectant or antibacterial soap, you're going to use that. If not, you're going to use our powder. Too bad, it messes up your hands. All right? So you are going to wash your hands up to about 2 inches above your wrist. And how long? Not like you do when you were 9. Not like this. You're going to sing Happy Birthday twice. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
I've heard that.
Get around each nail, and get it between each one, and then you're going to be very careful to get every bit of the soap off. Why? It'll chafe and crack your skin if you don't get all of the soap off. Now, this is not really soap. It is antibacterial detergent. Detergent closes the cell walls of bacteria and envelopes viruses. So it is, as the most effective thing you can do to prevent the spread of disease in any circumstance, including medicine, is constant, continuous, regular. Do the little antibacterial, what do they call them, gels work? Yes, they work best. They work incredible. Nothing beats hand washing. Remember, it's second to hand washing, so if you can't hand wash, the antibacterial gel is wonderful. Okay, so notice I didn't throw away my tiny little piece of paper towel. Do we have extra paper towel?
No.
No. All right. You will get the bottle named disinfectant, and you will spray your tabletop with it, and you will take this piece of paper that you use to dry your hand, and you will smear it over the tabletop. If you're a nice person, you'll have partners too. If you're just a usual LA me, you'll do, I'm sorry, that's my line. No, I did not do yours. I'm from LA. Grow up. You do not dry it. All chemicals require time to function. It's called decimal reduction value. The amount of time it takes for a disinfectant at proper temperature and concentration to kill 90% of the surface microbes is called decimal reduction time. And it is a little over 60 seconds, which is how much time it takes that to evaporate.
A minute?
Then you throw this away in something called a garbage can. Not the floor. Use the garbage can. Then you can lick it, smear around on it, do whatever you want. Okay? So, every day when you walk in, the first thing you do is pull out your chair, put your things in it, do not touch the tabletop. Wash your hands. Both of these sinks can get 2 people, and there's a room in there that can get 3 people, if they all happen at the same time. Wash your hands, sing happy birthday twice, rinse well, dry off your hands with 2 little pushes of the paper towel. Take that paper towel, spray the tabletop, smear it, throw it away, let it set, air dry, and then put your books up here and get ready for lecture. Then before lab, you do it again, because the books and things you came in with carry microbes. So before a lecture, you want to have everything as clean as you can get it, so you disinfect and wash your hands again. And then when you're done with lab, you do it a final time. So, test question. we have both lab and lecture in the same day, how many times would you wash your hands and disinfect?
Twice. 3 times. 3 times.
Before lecture, after lecture, and before lab, and after lab. 3 times. You won't believe how many people miss that question.
Yeah.
Okay, what about it's lab time? What do you do with your stuff? You take your book bag or whatever you have, and you put it in your chair, and you stick the chair underneath. In lab, the microscopes are made, and the height of this is designed for standing. Sadly, you're going to be standing the whole lab. And that's so I can walk between each one, and you can walk, and I can lean over and show you how to do your microscope and everything like that. So remember, in lab, you're going to be standing. The chair, your things are going to be in your chairs, and your chairs will be pushed underneath. The chairs are not going to be drug out here to trip me and push me and fall, because remember, I have a bad leg. If I fall, what do you think happens to you? Yes. The more I hurt, the harder the next test. It's America. All right. Let's see what else. That's daily procedures, blah, blah, blah. If you have documented sight, hearing, or learning problems, don't forget to bring me the material, the paperwork from the Disability Center, the Office of Special Services, etc. If you just have a non-documented but a difficulty with sight or so forth, or hearing or whatever, you need to email me about that, and we need to discuss it before seats are assigned. Seats will be assigned alphabetically. A may be at the back, or A may be at the front. Depends on how I feel that day. So, and that will be the 4th class. Let's see, blah, 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 blah. Anything else there? Nope. Anyone see anything that they had, that I may not have covered?
Pardon me,
Yeah.
you said to remind you when it was 4
4.
o'clock.
All right, let's do it. Let me see. Who's got the green sheet? I mean, the yellow sheet. Okay, so let's see how many. Everybody did sign that is officially registered. Is there anybody that signed that's officially registered that's moving to Micro 1? Did you note it on this list? Would you please? Anyone else? What's the last name? Can you? Yeah, if you're moving to Micro 1, come put an asterisk to the left of the number so I can give your seat and also add you to Micro 1. Here it is, Stephen. Yes. And I'll give you an ad slip for Micro 40 on Fridays. As many as I can give out today.
So what else do we have? Hurry up, we need to write. It's on the thing.
Micro 40 does not have any requirement. One, you have to have had a college chemistry. You can 40. That's perfect. That's good for anywhere.
That's the book. Okay.
It is officially scheduled from 9 to 12 on Fridays, but you only have to put in 2 hours 3 times during the term, and time period is from 9 to 4 on Fridays. This is all 13, right?
Perfect. For 2 hours.
Any 2 hours.
2 hours. Like we can get here anytime.
Yeah, and you don't have to come each time. You just have, like for instance, oh, we did the gram stain and you got it just fine. You don't need to come when we're doing the gram stain that Friday.
Oh, but you're having difficulty.
If you're having difficulty or you want to have a study group, and now you are my How sad, right? Can you make some Micro 40s for me?
Do we have to get the microphone outside? Is that it?
It's help session and makeup practice. You don't have to come every time. Just have
Oh, we have to be there?
3 times during the whole term. Yeah. If I was, the tooth fairy, which a lot of you probably think I am. Excuse me. Did you hurt your leg? Remember the beam of light from heaven?
Mm-hmm.
Second beam. And my mother says, Donald, please, when people ask you a question, you don't have to answer honestly. Sometimes you can just shut up or say, why do you need to know? But I always just answer. And this time I said, why do you need to know? And she said, you're limping. And I said, yes, I'm limping. And she said, why are you limping? And I said, because I had polio at age 2 in the last big epidemic in the United States before the vaccine. And she said, you're disabled? And I said, yes. And she said, there's no hiring freeze for the disabled. And I said, oh my God, give me a hand. I can make fun of the disabled. I'm disabled. It has never done anything for me but give me that job and a parking placard. A lot of people have made fun of me over the 100 samples in the morning and 500 in the afternoon of everyone's diarrhea around me. It was, I can actually turn off my smell. I can clean up poop anywhere, not even smell it. You'll learn to do that if you work with me. And every day when I went to the cafeteria, I looked. We had a huge cafeteria wall for transfers. And every day I got my little food tray and I went. Every transfer. 9 months later, I saw a little note that says, there's been a new disease discovered, 100% fatal. We do not have a treatment. We do not have a cure. We do not know what causes it. We do not know how it's spread. It's killing hundreds of people. No one will work with it. Please volunteer. We now call it AIDS. Then they call it GRID. And so I applied. Now I want you to think that I am wonderful, amazing, unbelievably courageous. But in truth, no more diarrhea is why I applied. And if it's a new degrees, looks over at me and says, you do know what you're going to be doing, right? And I said, yes, Campylobacter typing. And she said, do you know what Campylobacter is? And I said, well, I know it's a major genus in microbiology, but I really don't remember exactly. She said, oh, it's contagious diarrhea. I said, what? She said, yes. Everywhere in the world where there's a food outbreak of contagious diarrhea, we send people there to collect samples, which they send on dry ice overnight by FedEx, and a lab tech picks them up at 7 a.m. every morning at the Centers for Disease Control, thaws them out, dilutes them, and mixes them with antibodies prepared in rabbits to type the spread of different subtypes of Campylobacter infection so that we can trace the source. And you are the tech that's going to be doing that. So when you guys tell me something stinks, don't be joking. I know what stink is. I worked with it for 9 months. I did 5 years, and I never got picked for baseball or kickball or anything else. So I filled out the paperwork, and I'm giddy, right? And I say, what do I do? She says, be here at 6:45 Monday morning. And I said, oh, I don't get up before 11. I never schedule classes in the morning. I'm just not. She said, we start at 7. And you've got to be processed. So I met her there at 6:45, and she said, this is Matilda Smith, and she's going to be your boss, and you're going to be in the Centers for Disease. You're here at the Centers for Disease Control. You're going to be in the Center for Infectious Disease, the bacteriology branch, the Campylobacter typing lab. And I said, wow. And so we're going through, remember there's like 18 buildings, and they have basement, sub-basement 1, sub-basement 2, sub-basement 3. It's like a labyrinth of caves there. And we're going through with these card keys, through through all these secure sections and all that. And I'm just, and finally, she looks in micro. And I said, could I have an application? She said, no. I said, let's go over this all over. Do you have any openings for technicians, for masters?
Right.
She said, yes. I said, are they funded openings? And she said, yes. I said, are they vacant? And she said, yes. And I said, do I meet qualifications? And I showed her my master's. She said, yes. I said, could I have an application? And she said, no. And I said, why? And she said, Ronald Reagan has frozen federal hiring so that no one can be hired in the federal government because the deficit is out of control. And if someone quits or takes another job or retires, we just leave it open, even though it's funded, because we can't hire. And I said, and how long will this last? And she said, well, it's his second year, and it looks like he's going to get reelected, so I'm guessing, 6 years? I said, I've got to get my dissertation. And she said, and I've got to get back to work. So I turned around, and I walked out, and she said,